So after the luncheon, we decided to return to Smoky Row Cafe and meet with some Somali Americans who had heard about us being there and wanted to reconnect with some people who attended the lunch and a couple of new folks, which was really great.
Yeah, and we get to ask them a few questions too, and it was interesting to hear their take as well.
Not be the person being interviewed, you know? Now I'm in the hot seat. And so you asked what I thought was going to happen. Because I came here from an academic curiosity standpoint and as trying to research, and I've been reading about events like this for over a year now, and I think today has kind of exceeded my expectations, because a lot of the times when we are on TV, we see the news coverage that I read about these kind of events are about like 500 words, and they tell you who hosted it, how many people came, and there might be one or two quotes for the people. And being here today was very rewarding because I got to see what the atmosphere in the room was, what the temperature was, the tension, but also the laughter and the discomfort that these kind of conversations have to be, that this kind of conversation generates. So I thought that was really rewarding, and seeing the work that Muslim Americans here do, and they're working very hard to show to take control of their narrative and show a different, more nuanced, complete picture of who they are. And for me, I thought it was very interesting and difficult to be in a room where equally good and well-meaning people were there, and at the same time, it was interesting room. I think it was a microcosm of what American society today looks like, because there were people who've been here for 2 years, refugees who spoke very little English, people who've been here for 20 years and everything in between, and then that guy who'd been here for like 200 years, and then people who voted for Trump, but feel like I voted for him for one issue, and other people say, but I have the same social values as you do. As a Somali, as a Muslim woman, I believe in this as you do, but I didn't vote for him. But it just felt a lot of but at the same time, they were laughing together and somehow made the social situation more harmonious. So I thought how fragile of an ecosystem it is, but it is an ecosystem that's kind of working. So I thought it was really interesting, and I'm very grateful that you guys allowed me to come and be a part of it. Yeah, so thank you.
All of the conversations today were very interesting, and especially the conversation that was happening during the event today, because I was raised in a community that has very similar views as to the people that are there. I was born and raised Christian. It's like I know about the one ticket abortion. I think it was very interesting. So I've sort of just like tuned that out almost, like as I've grown up. But it was very interesting to hear the nuances and how, they struggled with it themselves. And I think it humanized them and Muslims for me. So it was very interesting.
So you came here, you ran for an office, you obviously had a terrible experience. Would you run again?
Absolutely. So the experience was really upsetting at first, but it's something I coped with really easily, because a lot of the things that were said about me were, just ludicrous. More like they were like onion article pieces, but there was a lot of discrimination, the usual racial slurs, and then some new slurs that I've never heard of before. It's the reality of this country. This country was founded on, genocide of Native Americans. It was founded on slavery, Jim Crow, segregation. So it's not as if it's an anomaly. It's what this country has always been about. But there's been a progression towards more equality, more social justice. But all those veins of hate and racism are still there. And when you have people like Donald Trump who come in and he's not creating these situations, he's just tapping those already, ingrained ideas in our society, in our culture, and frustrations and fears. But yeah, so sometimes you don't know. You meet people who are very nice and friendly, but they voted for Trump.
This was our first time in Iowa, and I just felt a lot of positive energy when we went to the farmers market. We also went to an arts festival, and there was really wonderful people that we met along the way, and I would definitely return. I think the group of people we met with were also very interesting in, what they believe in. They were evangelicals, so understanding more about that faith was also an interesting part, especially because usually they get a bad reputation too.
Before I left for Iowa, if I'm being honest, I did believe that all of Trump supporters would have to be, or voters would have to be, inherently racist or just purely selfish. Why else would you vote for someone who just treats people like that? I mean, that's really what I believe. But everything changed, Now I know there are differences between Trump voters and Trump supporters. Supporters are people who, no matter what he does, as long as he is mean to the people that they don't like, brown people, black people, Muslims, then he's all right with them. And voters are people who always voted Republican, and they would have voted for any nominee. And so, and they don't like how he behaves and how he treats people, but then they were kind of stuck. So eventually they might even reevaluate, I don't know, their choice in maybe 2020. But I don't see people through these very negative same lenses, and we've been meeting. From there on, we ended up meeting more people who voted for Trump and who are actually laughing about it right now, saying, this is the first time we ever shared this with anybody. And they couldn't be nicer. So to make a long story short, the only way, there's a famous Somali saying that says, the only way to know someone is to sit with them and share a meal with them, or to take a journey with them. And unless we come together and sit together, share a meal and talk to one another, we'll never know what's in somebody else's heart. So I think now, as Muslims, Elise and I talked about this, we were like, well, maybe we can now, moderate, or mediate our liberal friends and our conservative friends, and bring our brothers and sisters together and say, this is one America. We share this beautiful country. We all want what's best for our country and for everybody. And let's take the time to hear one another, and to even sometimes allow some differences to exist and remain. Because if we keep yelling at each other and each group saying, if you don't see things exactly the way I see it, then you're either dumb or hateful, then we're doomed. This is not the America I dreamt about when I was a little girl, and so we're very, very, very hopeful.